Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And today we have a lot of juicy crypto news to cover. Let me quickly show you guys. So we have XRP, a little bit about XRP and Doge, a little bit about FTX, a little bit about Ethereum, some Bitcoin news, always juicy. Binance having themselves a nice little update/upgrade, Bitcoin recovering, and a couple of thoughts about that. And then, of course, some general crypto news with ending it with Bitcoin as well. We'll just see. All right, I might forget the timestamps down below. That's why I'm quickly showing you guys a little overview. We have, of course, some side stories and whatnot coming out as well. So make sure you enjoy the video as we have a ton of cool stuff to cover. Having said that, guys, if you are enjoying the daily crypto news, make sure that you press that like button as it helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And tomorrow I'll bring back the face cam if you guys keep supporting the channel like this. All right, the SEC didn't declare Ripple's XRP a security in 2018. So what's changed? Right, guys, tomorrow I am giving you all a schedule for the Ripple v SEC lawsuit. Just a good overview of everything that is about to happen. And so you have a clear overview and insights into what you should be expecting and whatnot. But for right now, I want to quickly answer this question. What has changed? What's going on? Now, the most important thing to understand, if you ask me, is that it's not fair. And what I mean with that is that the Ripple v SEC lawsuit, in the way in which it's built right now and the way in which it's going, is just not really a fair game. There have been so many oddities, things that are strange, things that don't really work out. And I honestly think that what changed is just the SEC changed their priorities, which again are not necessarily following the general guidelines that they should have, but is just making something up. So if you want my own opinion on the matter, it is that this lawsuit is entirely unfair or unprecedented. Basically, it doesn't make a lot of sense, nor was it the most rational way to go about these things. Then again, we are just random people on the internet. We don't really matter. But John Deaton is trying to fight it, and again, that's why I'm supporting him so much. So where will it go then? Because all of this is unfair. Is it all in game? Well, we have tried to kind of showcase from multiple different angles why it could all be a show, or why it's almost predestined that Ripple will win this because of all the strange things that are happening. However, we are assuming these things. We are assuming, again, not financial advice, not legal advice, that Ripple is going to win the lawsuit in 2022. Yet, if we look at it critically, we can't say it with facts, right? We can't build on top of, I guess, the fact that they're going to win. But we are kind of doing that already. And that's because there's just so many things that don't work out. So where it's going to go? Well, we do believe that there's a pretty high probability of 10xing over in 2022 following the lawsuit win. And of course, we have exchanges like Coinbase relisting it. And obviously, we have Ripple going public. There's quite a lot of exciting stuff happening for Ripple in XRP in 2022. Now, also, they have gone through a massive amount of upgrades and increases in nearly everything positive over the last years as well. And that's kind of funny because they've been sued by the SEC, but it really didn't look like it affected anything rather than just the outside. Study shows Dogecoin and XRP saw largest network fee increase last year, which is necessarily a bad thing because the higher your network fee is, the worse, right? Depends, because the higher the network fee, the more network activity you most likely have. With XRP, that's the craziest part. We've seen such a huge increase in activity here that a lot of people were calling out for, hey, we need some upgrades, hey, we need some changes, which of course already did come in as well. But that's, again, I think a very important part for XRP, that they have upgraded basically or changed around where the people have basically noticed now, hey, what we had going on was nice, but not really the system for main adoption. We need to make some changes, and we know now that once things change up even further than they did right now, we need to change even more to get those fees back down. Another fun little factor is just how much Ethereum has changed, man. Really, transaction free from January 1st to December 1st, I think last year, that is then. Not exactly sure, but I think so. From $3 to $52. If you've ever done an Ethereum transaction, you know it's freaking awful, man. It's too expensive. It really is way too expensive. It's so crazy. All right, moving on though. FTX. US raises $400 million during a Series A funding round, valuing the company at $8 billion. This is very important news, mostly from the perspective that, well, FTX is a pretty big exchange. And I honestly just get excited in the sense that they're going for such a round, being an exchange. And I kind of wonder where they're going to take themselves, because I didn't expect them to need to raise more money. but that's also what the Series A is for, to just get money to do something. What are they doing? I don't know. But they said the capital injection will be used to further develop its user base, in addition to launching new business lines, while strategic investments and acquisitions are also on the table. So FTX apparently is going for some massive expansion. You would have thought they were already at the pinnacle of everything, but I guess they are not. And they put themselves at an $8 billion valuation, so it's a pretty big round. $400 million. Can you just imagine if you have a marketing budget all of a sudden of $100 million to do stuff? That is crazy, guys. That is crazy. But everything for massive expansion, huh? Yeah, they have the potential to overtake and just become the #1 exchange in the world. So I guess they're putting everything up to everything to make that a reality right now, which I also understand. Then Ethereum Whales added $500 million worth of coin during this market dip. You got to remember, and remember this carefully, guys, that every time you see an article like this, it is skewed, because every time there's a dip, every time there's a pump, you'll see different sorts of articles saying whales bought or whales dumped. And so you're going to make yourself crazy if you follow along with what the quote-unquote whales are doing, as mostly these guys are just showing you a little bit of a skewed picture that just shows one side of the story, for example. Here it says Ethereum is hovering just below 2,500 once again after bottoming out at 2170 just 3 days ago. Dip buyers can be happy knowing that whale addresses holding 10K coins or more have added 200,000 ETH from weak hands since January 20th, worth $500 million. And it is a little bit of an increase, but it's still not too severe or anything to really go, write home about. Unless we get something really crazy going that's unprecedented, I'm not writing home. I'm not writing home for anything that's like this. All right, why the Bitcoin network is too big to ban at this stage? I actually get this question quite often, and that is, why can Bitcoin not get banned? And I usually reply back saying the only way in which they can destroy Bitcoin is basically through manners of this. Bitcoin could be hacked with extremely powerful quantum computers, British researchers say. This is the truth, all right? If there's computers that are so powerful to basically crack the SHA, 256, the code basically, there are possibilities for that. But banning it, how, right? Because they can ban Bitcoin in some sense, but it will always stay. Meaning, if the US, for example, China, Russia, all these countries come out and say, you know what, we're not allowing it anymore. It has come to a degree where some countries have legalized it and will never follow along to say, oh, we're going to ban it too. It will just never happen. Think about it rationally, right? Dubai, for example, will never say we're going to ban it. But countries like El Salvador will obviously never do that either, in the way in which it's looking right now. More importantly, there will always be a very large community of people who are now sticking with it. And before, when it was a niche thing, right, the Bitcoin network would always stay alive. I mean, there's no way in which it's going to ever die out, basically, unless something really crazy happens. But a ban is not really on that list. I'm just more so talking about a crazy hack or the world, crumbles. There would always be one guy or two guys or 1,000 guys basically in their basement running a node and basically, mining and just continuing on. They would always keep the network alive. But right now it's so popular where there are going to always be tens of thousands of people who are going to participate basically if there is ever a crazy attempt to ban it all, if you guys get my drift. Meaning impossible basically to ban it all the way. In any way, shape, or form you want to think about this, people have seen the potential now with the money market and the quantitative easing. No, there's just too much potential for this. All right, then Binance to resume cepa bank transfers in partnership with PaySafe. So generally speaking, a very important announcement as well, because I personally used this quite a lot before. cepa, in this case, being here for Europeans, easy transfers of money from your bank account into Binance. Now, fortunately enough, I don't need this right now or anymore, but a lot of the people that I basically learned how to use crypto, I basically gave them a Binance account from the get-go, and I taught them how to deposit with cepa. And when that was gone, I had to switch over to, for Dutch people, Bitfavo or some stuff like that. But now that it's going to be back, well, they can use it again. And it's honestly my preferred exchange because there's inherent staking. It's very simple, and I use it all the time, so I can explain it easier to people than some other exchanges. And then again, for user interface, it's definitely not the best because just some other apps focused more on just user interface and easiness. And Binance has a lot of functions, and they have the light version, but still, I don't think is actually the best overview because, for example, if you have stuff in Earn, it will not show up in that little overview, the light one. And there's just a couple of negative sides in that sense. Alright guys, and before we move on, I want to quickly tell you guys about one of the newest partners of the channel that is called LaborX. And honestly guys, I can with 100% certainty say I have never been as excited to work with the project as with this project. Man, if you've ever had to do something in crypto in the sense of building something, everybody knows what a chore it is to get good people and to get it on paper how all the agreements work with everything. It's such a hassle. And apparently, these guys have made a new platform where there's a smart contract between both parties. Guys, I am so amazed right now. This is such an amazing idea. And basically what it's going to do is there's a digital agreement that formalizes the workflow, key milestones, and pay arrangements. Apparently, you can also pay in crypto. The contracts are settled in major digital currencies or stablecoins, allowing efficient global payments. There's a reputation system. Guys, are you here? Are you hearing this? A decentralized scoring system ranks each user according to feedback from previous jobs and other relevant criteria. Now, obviously, a reputation system is not something new. It's, a star system, but I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit deeper than what we see with a lot of Upworks and whatnot. And again, because of the smart contract, I do believe it might make it a little bit more resilient to some stuff, but we'll have to see how that goes on as time goes by. Reputation is not one of the strongest points, if you ask me. It's the smart contract feature and the fact you can pay with crypto. Because I've been actually looking around on Upwork because, guys, I'm looking for a new script writer. And I haven't really checked around too much into the deep end. I've checked the audio and video section, but I'm thinking now, maybe I can actually go on to writing and get myself somebody because these guys are very capable in crypto, obviously. The only problem is when I checked through, I saw mostly people for this type of stuff, rewriting, article rewriting and whatnot, but I'll have to check because there's a very high probability, guys, that I'm going to get my own new employee from this website if there's not one of you guys that wants to actually do it. But apparently they also have some dispute resolution, which any platform should have. But the best feature, in my opinion, is just that they have a smart contract way of doing it and the fact that it's a crypto-centric platform. You most likely have way other things on there as well in terms of jobs and gigs, but I'm just talking that there's right now a very high probability that if you're looking for some crypto type of people, that they're gonna be on this website because it was built that way, which I think is so amazing. So in the event of a disagreement about completed work, third-party arbitration can be requested, and apparently there's also no commission for the employer. Oh, yeah, guys, I am hyped up, and I've not had that in a very long while where a project comes up that I'm like, wow, this sounds amazing. Always, guys, act cautiously in the sense that you're not going to go all in just quite yet because, again, it has to be tested first. Test the waters. Don't go crazy on something just quite yet. I would honestly say start, for example, if you're going to hire somebody with a lower end and says that you're not going to fork over $5,000 immediately the first day because you want to get the best of the best. I would say test the waters first, see how you like something like this. But honestly, if you ask me, this could be one of the best ways to get in touch with crypto developers and whatnot because it's a crypto-centric platform that does the job services. So yeah, it's really funny. That was looking for a developer actually and a script writer and a couple other guys. And then I came up with these guys. It's like, what in the world? So I'm generally speaking quite happy with that. But again, you have to test the waters first. Don't just go all in on once. Just be rational about it. But this, honestly, guys, is one of the most amazing projects I've seen in a very long while. Bitcoin recovers to $38,000, correlated with the US futures ahead of Fed meeting results. We've actually covered this before as well. And that was actually mostly revolving the fact that people were really confused with where Bitcoin was going to go in correlation to the US futures, or actually basically just the federal meeting, right? And we covered yesterday how the federal meeting was just basically shifting the trouble to the future. And I'm going to stick by that right now and say, yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly the situation that we're in right now. We don't know what the near term is going to look like because we have this crazy pressure on all of us that March or something like that, there's going to be some Fed interest rate increases. And that's obviously going to most likely tank the stock market and the economy is not going to react so positively to it. And then it's going to depend on how Bitcoin is basically going to react to that. But we're estimating that because the correlation has been so high, specifically during these downturns, that if the stock market falls again, and we haven't seen some crazy new incentive for Bitcoin to not follow along, that the manipulators are most likely going to manipulate Bitcoin in the same sense to make it move with the S&P yet again. I think it's reasonable to assume that. And last but not least, guys, I've been calling this out so many times and I kept forgetting exactly what the article was and what exact everything was around this. So Gibraltar is looking to launch the world's first stock exchange to accept payments in Bitcoin and crypto. This is a very big deal. I think we had two things. One was that a blockchain ETF was launched for the first time. I'm not exactly sure when. And this was the second part, where Gibraltar is looking to launch a stock exchange to accept payments in crypto and Bitcoin. It's a really big step. And this is, again, really excites me about the world of crypto in the sense that so many things which we thought were just unimaginable 5 years ago are right now becoming reality. And if we look back at why can it not be banned, it's too big not to fail. It can definitely fail from some degree, but it can never be outright banned by some institution anymore. All they can do is basically take out a massive policy. For example, if they want to ban it, then let's say, for example, right, if they really want to crash Bitcoin and make it do bad for a while, not destroy it all the way, is if they were to short Bitcoin, while at the same time coming out with an announcement that the US wants to ban Bitcoin and fine everybody who's ever held it, for example. From some perspective, that should increase the Bitcoin price because, well, if they want to do something like that, that means they take it really seriously and they really are afraid that it's going to take over the system. On the other hand, it should really destroy the Bitcoin price and they can make a lot of money on that with the shorts to basically further the FUD and whatnot. But another one is that they actually take over, spend, for example, $1 trillion, who knows, in Bitcoin mining efficiency, so to speak. They take over the network in a hostile manner and make money by shorting Bitcoin as well. That's another possibility if they really wanted to, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But Bitcoin and crypto as a whole are coming into the right direction. I'm excited about it all. All right, guys, that was it for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. It is late at night, so cut me some slack if I sound a little bit tired. I just want to get this video out because there's some juicy news to cover, and I don't want to wait until tomorrow because then I'm like, it's going to be a little bit too late to post this. No, I'd get it out as soon as possible, even though it's nighttime. I had to do it right now. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys again in another one.